closed session, the board took action to issue a notice, percent Ed Code Section 44929.21, employees identified by 1850, 2995, 2209, 0130, 2979, 1760, 2388, 2865, 2078, 2809, 1847, 0362, 2846, 3008, 3047, 3049, 2806, 2349, 2949, 2895, 2854, 2986, 3003, 2982, 2363, 2266, 2922, 2709, 3080, 1858, 2673, 2707, 2985, 1293, 2956, 3002, 3078, 2728, 2988, 2912, 3031, 1756, 2675, 2987, 2289, 3028, 3024, 1777, 2999, shall be given notice that he or she is not re-elected for the 2017-2018 school year, effective at the end of 2018-2019 school year, and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The vote was as follows. On the motion? Concurs.
Yeah, I made a motion. That was
Okay, you made the motion, okay.
Second.
Kirk second? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A recording of this meeting is being made and shall be kept for 30 days as public record. Pledge of Allegiance led by, let's see. Yeah, Mr. Riley. Sorry.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Roll call. Board members: Patrick Reeder, Mario Gutierrez, Sandy Kirk, Vincent Otis, and myself, and Heidi is absent. Approve agenda. I hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second by. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Reports, student reports. Ivy Vasquez is absent.
Can I give a quick report for the high school, if that's okay?
Rosamond High School, okay.
Just real quickly, our girls soccer club team won.
No, I'm kidding.
You have to sit in her chair.
Our girls soccer team has made it to the championship game, which is Friday in Fresno. Our girls basketball team is in the playoffs. They're actually playing now. So, the boys soccer team made it to the quarterfinals. They lost in the quarterfinals, but they won a couple games and made it to quarterfinals. So, very excited and happy about our athletics. So we had a blood drive yesterday, and it seemed to go very well. So just a little bit of things happening at the high school. We did want to at least mention our athletic teams and how well they're doing. So.
Great, thank you, Mr. Riley. Next we have Dan Wexler and E-rate.
Okay, so I'd like to set the power on. So I'd like to talk about the status of our E-rate funding. So the last time I talked to the board was maybe 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, we submitted an RFP for 2 E-rate projects. The first was for an upgrade to our wireless network, and the second was an upgrade to 8 of our network switches. We received 6 bids, and what I'd like to do tonight is talk about those bids and the bid selection process, and request approval from the board to go forward with the 2 winning bids. So E-rate this is E-rate, this is category 2 funding. E-rate will pay about 80% of that. So the way the funding works is it comes from the FCC. The FCC will pay for 80% and the district will cover 20%. So for the wireless network, it's an upgrade to the wireless controller, which is like the brains of the wireless network, and an upgrade to about 80 of our wireless access points, which are about 3 or 4 years old. And then we have to get new licenses, new support contract. And that will improve our wireless network. It'll give us a more stable, more reliable wireless network. We got 6 bids. The winning bid was from a company called Gigacom that we've worked with before. They actually, we've done wireless network projects with Gigacom. The bid met all of the specifications. We had 3 of the vendors who gave us bids did not. They basically they basically submitted proposals for a different wireless company, which wouldn't work on our wireless network. So the cost, the bid amount is for about $60,000. So that would cost us about $12,000 to move forward with that project with Gigacom. I won't bore you. So this we have an E-rate consultant. This is the matrix that we use to select the winning bid. So there's a bunch of different categories, and we give them a score from 1 to 6, and there's some Excel formulas, and it calculates the winning bid, which was Gigacom. The second project is a smaller project. It's network switches. So it's 8 of them. They cost about, depending on the size of the switch, they cost like $1,500 a switch. So our portion will be 20%, which will cost us $2,500. So basically, on our network, we have 8 older switches that we want to replace. And that's the matrix. So I'd like to request approval to proceed with these 2 winning bids.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Eric, are we good with that?
20% of the cost, yes.
Okay. In that case, I will make a motion, we accept the bid.
Oh, it's in consent.
Oh, it's in the
We can
consent
do it
item?
in consent, yeah.
Consent item.
It's in consent. So we'll approve the bid.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to help my kid with her homework. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Okay, he's on injured too. You do a little more lifting away.
Okay, board communication.
Have fun.
Mr. Otis.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to congratulate the girls and the boys, and hope our girls are winning. I think there's a new volleyball coach in the house, but I'm not sure who it is. Oh, wait a minute. Congratulations. It just seemed like the other day you were little, I think about, it's so funny because I was, she was on my first U8 team that I ever coached, but the mind blower was one of the girls that also played on that team is now a parent with babies and was one of my coaches. And I'm really happy, but your kids are having babies because one of them just happened. Not mine did, not yours, no.
Not mine.
But, so that's congratulations, and we're just moving right along. Well, I mean, before you know it, there'll be time to, dude, here's your cap and gown, hello, thank you, bye-bye. But first we have to have Easter break and then, that kind of good stuff. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's cold out there. I'm not really a cold weather person, so I'm glad I don't live where it's snowing. Our athletes are doing great, and the thing that I like about that is the fact that they aren't only athletes, but they're student athletes. Their academics are one of the things that they have to work on as well as the skills on the court or floor or field or wherever they happen to be. And So, it's always nice when we can congratulate our teams and they're going on. I just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with all of the victims and families of the school shootings and all of the stuff that's going on. It seems like the last 2 or 3 days, it's been crazy. I mean, you know, just what El Camino High School, Kern Valley High School had some issues, and you know, it's not just one school. It doesn't seem to be one area. It seems to be everywhere. And it's hard. It's hard when my kids went to school here, my grandkids are going to school here, I worked here, and I can't even imagine during our time here how we would have handled that. That I can't even imagine actually it happening. So, like I said, thoughts and prayers for them.
Thank you, Ms. Coates.
Just thank everybody for coming, and go Cuda teams. Now, you said it's Friday at Fresno?
Friday in Fresno, yes.
They played last year.
No, they actually didn't last year.
No, but they played them.
They did, they lost, Fresno lost to them in the first round last year.
Better girls are playing like that.
That's it, thank you.
Congratulations to the soccer team and going on the academics. Aren't all our winter teams 3.0 or higher average?
I believe so, yes.
Congratulations on that. Another shout out to them. And that's all I got.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I do the same thing. Congrats to all the sports teams, and really proud of them too, especially the soccer team. They've been doing a super job, so really impressed with them. Next is RTA report.
Good evening. I was going to switch it up tonight and just ask if you guys had anything you wanted me to cover, but then I came up with a couple of items. At our executive board meeting in January, the RTA executive board approved $5,000 in scholarships this year.
Wow.
For RTA scholarships for graduating seniors from Rosamond High School and also graduating seniors of RTA members. Applications for those scholarships are due by April 13th, and applications can be found online at the district website in the Rosamond High School page under counseling section. You can download the application and fill it out if you're a graduating senior. And we certainly want to encourage all of the graduating seniors to get involved in that. Sometimes we have to look for applicants, and I hope we don't have to do that again this year. I don't know, anybody know of a graduating senior around? Mr. Reeder or anybody? No? Nobody? Okay.
He's working on it.
Other than that, we're moving forward on finalizing calendar for next year. I believe the district has decided on start dates for students on August 9th and an end date, or Thursday, August 9th, and an end date of Friday, May 31st. Probably a change also in the spring break to match Antelope Valley College of April 1st, April 5th. That's pretty much, I think, the only decisions that have been made or are close to being made. Other than that, we've got to just place in minimum days and those kinds of things. I'm meeting with Mr. Weinstein on Monday, and I'm sure that's going to be one of the issues we go over. So that's what I have, in case the board wants me to try to come up with anything else.
No, we're fine.
You're sure? Good enough? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Glad to be back.
Comments from the public. We do have comments. So members of the public may address the board on any items within the jurisdiction of the board by submitting presentations, requests to secretary. Members of the public are strongly urged not to mention personnel by name and are reminded that they do not have immunity over legal action with personnel by name. The board may limit each speaker to 3 minutes with a total of 20 minutes per topic. People wishing to speak on the item that are on the board agenda will be called upon when that item is considered. People wishing to speak on an item that are not on the board agenda will be called upon at this time. Since the board generally cannot take action on this item not on the agenda, such items will be referred to the superintendent. And we have Renee Taylor. Come on.
Hi.
Never.
So I'm Renee Taylor. Some of you may already know me or have received an email from me yesterday. I'm a mother of 2 Rosamond elementary kids, and I work full-time on base. I'm here to voice my concerns and hopefully start a conversation to have a positive input on solutions. My concerns are safety, security, and communication in regards to my children, students, and faculty, specifically at RES, but in the district also. My concerns are from a parent's point of view looking at safety. The parking lot at RES has been a nightmare since day one. Communication, we shouldn't be getting notified of lockdowns, or soft lockdowns, threats after the fact or via social media. In addition, there has to be a better way to notify folks than more than one contact. I don't know, that could just be me that's only getting one notification for my whole entire household, that that's the way it is. And then security, this is a big one in light of what you just said, is why I'm here actually. And is there a plan for the unthinkable, God forbid, right? Are there drills being ran? Do we have campus security? And last I'll add it, and when you develop solutions, please don't forget about the after-school program. They, along with the faculty, have our children's lives in your hands, not just for the education, but to keep them safe. Thank you.
Superintendent's report, Mr. Winston.
So, thank you, Ms. Taylor. One of the things we're talking about this week, obviously, last week, because of the tragedy in Florida, our prayers go out to them, is re-looking at our security, re-looking at what we're doing, as well as making sure that our drills are being run, and inviting the sheriffs and the highway patrol to be a part of those drills, to evaluate them for them, as well as we have an outside consultant that helps us run drills and actually lets us know where our security breaches are and everything. For your email that we did receive, there was no lockdown at RES. That was a poor choice of words by some of our staff members out to parents. We just restricted children from the play area, that's it. There was a police presence far away from our campus, but enough to where we were not even, it wasn't even close enough where the sheriffs notified us of the presence of what they were doing. It happened that a bus driver drove by and saw a number of police cars and told us, and so the Rising Stars Academy, as well as RES, which was not in school session yet, just restricted kids from going into the area that is exposed to Rosamond Boulevard. They stayed in the quad and in the cafeteria. And by the way, thank you for your email. So we are looking at all our security. Since I got here 5 years ago, as the board well knows, and all my staff and my administration, safety has been a #1 concern of ours. Not only safety for, God forbid, the unthinkable happens, but safety for all things, earthquake drills, stay in place, chemical spills, all those type of things. We are going through trainings this year. We are looking at increasing our security at all sites, and we're doing everything possible, including teacher training for these type of things. So we are aware, unfortunately, and this is not an excuse to be used, but California does not recognize safety and security as a funded activity. So one of the things that we obviously have to do is we have to make some very strong choices, which the board has always backed, to take money from other areas and put it into security. And it's a motto that I have talked about from day one that is not a very popular motto among my fellow educators, of saying that our #1 responsibility is to hand children back in the same physical condition that they were when we got them, and if that means not being able to give them some of the educational benefits that we would like to give them, that's a hard choice, but a choice that we must make at this particular time. I'm actually going to be heading up to Sacramento, not with the lobbying team, but I've been invited to talk to Sacramento about these issues and looking for some funding for security for all California schools. Just so happens that we are in a very positive budget for California, so we are looking at trying to hopefully get some money from California to help us obviously integrate more security at all our sites. We have been meeting with our staff. We just had a meeting at REF. We'll be meeting at every staff location and asking staff for any of their input, which we do automatically, usually through their leadership teams, but we're actually reaching out and asking staff to critique us on our drills, on our security that we have, areas where they see that we can use some shoring up, or areas where they feel that we're not as safe as we need to be. So thank you for your comment, and we're elicit comments from the public at all times. And some of our increased security issues that we've instituted in the last couple of weeks have actually got some parent complaints, but I'm willing to listen to those parents and try to let them know that it's for the security of all that we do, maybe infringe on some student rights, but safety is our #1 concern. So thank you very much for your comment, and those staff attending here know my policy, but we elicit your comments also. That's it, ma'am?
Set items A through G.
Make a motion that we accept the items A through G.
Taylor, second by, was that Otis?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Want to stay?
Oh, okay, well,
Oh,
oh, so that's four.
that's right.
Personnel.
Motion to approve all personnel.
You had volleyball?
So that's, Reader, second by, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There's no thing.
Oh wait, hold on.
No, there isn't.
I forgot about that.
Oh, well,
Wait,
we'll write
okay,
that.
so,
It's too late.
Who was
so it is Patrick,
Pam.
So Pat, who's Patrick?
And you,
Mario.
Mario. And Fox.
Head volleyball coach.
Where?
Thank you very much.
California Connection Academy at Central Coast Charter Petition. Mr. Williamson.
So, California Connections Academy, it is a online charter school servicing many states and wishing to service our area as well as our surrounding counties. They have submitted a petition to us that has been reviewed by our legal counsel. It is a requirement that we have a public hearing on such submissions before the board would vote at a future meeting. And we have representatives from the California Connection Academy as well as, Tian Lee?
Tian Lee, yes.
Tian Lee, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I pronounce that. Tian Lee from our legal counsel on charter petitions, who is here on Suki's behalf. And so we're we request that we open for public hearing.
I'll make a motion to go to recess for the hearing.
Second. Second by Kirk.
At 7:35.
All in favor?
Right.
So now we invite those of the public as well as representatives from the California Connection Academy to comments or presentation as you wish. You're up.
Thank you.
Oh, IT stuff.
Yeah, I came prepared though. It's all self-contained, so shouldn't be an issue. Thanks again for having us. You saw us in December. I'm Josh Daniels again. I'll introduce Dr. Francie Sasson, who's the Chief Business Officer for California Connections Academy Schools. Dr. Savage couldn't be here. He's touring the state, meeting with students all over the state where the various schools exist. So just kind of a recap, we won't be long because I know we did a presentation in December. Just a couple of high-level things though for you to be aware of regarding this school and the charter application that was submitted. So just kind of an overview on charter schools. You know, I know you've got a charter in district already, so you should be somewhat familiar. You know, they are public schools, just like any other district public school. They're tuition free, they're open enrollment, they're non-sectarian. The only difference is rather than being governed by essentially a governmental board like a district board, they're governed by a nonprofit board. But they're publicly funded under the same funding formulas in California. They're authorized by school districts. Districts receive a fee for the authorization and oversight of a charter school. And in the case of an online or a virtual school, they're considered independent study. So there's a variety of types of independent study schools. In the case of California Connections Academy, it is a full-service K-12 public school. So some independent study programs might have a lot of sort of options. Some people might even think of it like a homeschool program. In the case of Connections Academy, it's as if you were in a classroom, but you're able to go to school online. So you have teachers that check in with you periodically. All of the curriculum is aligned to California state curriculum standards. So the charter application is a very big document right here. And what this goes through is a variety of informational items, but California code requires a charter school application to have 16 elements, and this is just a list of those elements, and that's what that binder is it goes through and it's California Connections Academy's description of its academic program and how it meets the various qualifications for a charter school. A little bit about academic performance. I think this is important because schools exist to help students learn, and we look at these measurements to see if it's working. And so academic performance in the most recent year for California Connections Academy schools, over here on the left is reading proficiency, so that's your English standardized tests. The green bar is Connections Academy, the gray bar is the California state average. You'll notice close to state average, just below in 3rd and 4th grade, and then in 5th, 6th, 7th, and on up to high school, it exceeds the state average. This is growth measurements over here. Growth is also an important way to look at student achievement. Growth measurements for Connections has gone up in math proficiency from the previous year. And then the last segment here is just post-secondary readiness, your standardized tests, college admissions tests, and the colored bar is Connections Academy schools, and the gray bar is the national average. These are nationally norm reference tests, and so we compare the students that took the test at a California Connections Academy school to the students around the country that took the same test. So I would say that students at Connections Academy do as well, or even better in some cases, than many other students in California. And so I think it is a successful academic program. This is the previous year. And in terms of high school success, it's quite amazing to see the diversity of students that choose to go to school through the online option, and to see some of them end up at some of the top universities, both across California and across the country. So the district partnership. So as an authorizing district, we view ourselves as in a partnership with the district. And one of the things that the online school is able to provide to the district as an assistance for the district is what we call enrolled courses. So your district may very well offer online courses to some of your students right now, and you may do that through a variety of providers. What this is since you would be authorizing an online school, you might be curious in your oversight function as an authorizing district how that works for students. And so in consideration of that need for oversight from the district, what Connections Education, or Pearson Online and Blended Learning, does is provides a number of free enrolled courses to the district that you can use at your discretion for students between K and 12, all the way. So you've got, I think we shared these with you. It's a program guide. It's all of the classes that a student can take through the Connections Academy program. And so all of those courses would be then available for the district to enroll students in if you wanted to supplement some students. Maybe you had some high school students that wanted to take a foreign language that's not offered right now in the district. those students could then enroll through the online program and take that course for free to the district. And the way that works is just based on total enrollment at the school. So there would be 20 essentially free enrolled courses available for the district to use for every 100 students that are enrolled in the school. And it'd be like a minimum of 20. So if there was only 95 students or something, the district could still have the ability to enroll 20 of its students in some online programming depending on the needs of the district. Some of the districts in California will use that for special either like AP or honors courses or foreign language courses. Some will use it as kind of a miniature alternative ed program for certain students in the district. There's a variety of ways that you can do that. And that feature is spelled out in something called the Statement of Agreement. What that is that's the agreement between Pearson or Connections Education and Connections Academy schools to provide educational products and services. And in that agreement, it would say that the district, as an authorizer to do their oversight, can then have access to these courses. So I think that's something that districts like about this kind of a partnership. One interesting thing is those online courses that are available, 95 of them are A through G approved, and that's a pretty good number. I know here in your district, I believe you've got about 120 or 130 A through G courses, and I compared the two lists, and through the online programming, you'd be able to actually increase your course offerings that are A through G approved by as many as 45 courses, just looking at what the district offers right now versus what Connections offers and what might be different. So that would be cool because you could expand your A through G offerings, and it would put you kind of in the same category as a lot of larger schools in the state, like Bakersfield and Palo Alto, that have over 200 A through G courses available. So why online school? There's a lot of reasons why families choose to put their kid into an online school. Sometimes it's temporary for health problems or other family or behavioral challenges. There's a variety of students that systemically enroll in an online school. One of the categories we actually see this in is military families. Because the Connections Academy online program is somewhat consistent across the country in other states, you have families that move from state to state on military assignment, and they actually like to enroll their students in the same or similar kind of online program. And with Connections Academy, they might have been in Connections Academy in Texas, in Waco there at the base, and then they move to California and they're transferred here, and they say, oh, I got to pull my kid out of that school. Well, if there's a Connections Academy here in California, they'll often enroll their students there. And the same thing as they move from base to base throughout the state. And so as we look at the map of California and what's available for military families, we notice that these three counties here, what we call the Central Coast, have 5 military bases. These little flags are military bases. There's 40 military bases in the state of California, and 12 of them are in this greater Kern County region. The counties all around are contiguous to Kern County. And these 3 counties right now on the coast have 5 military bases along the coast there that are not currently served by an online Connections Academy option. And so this is one of the reasons that we felt like it made sense to try and partner with Southern Kern because, as you know, you're located right here, basically in the center of this region. And these 3 counties in particular don't have an online school option for those families. And so we think that would be a great benefit to at least some military families in the region to have that option. And then another interesting reason why students will often choose online school is they need the flexibility for their own careers. You've got some remarkable students that are in the movie industry and television, and also athletes that are competing even on the Olympic platform. So in honor of that, I'll just share this quick video here. right now, one of which is
She hits this triple axel over and over again in practice. When I talk to her about it, she says when she hits it, it's like magic happens, but she cannot hesitate. She says that's her biggest problem. She has to attack it. So as she's skating into it now, she has to keep the speed. She can't second guess. She has to go right up into it. Yes!
It's the first time in Olympic history that an American athlete has done that in the Olympics. And this is another student, graduated a couple years ago.
Quad lutz has never been landed cleanly at Olympic Games, and that's his opening element. Quad lutz, triple toe. Oh, there it was, clean!
So it's a cool example of some California students who were able to pursue this kind of a career and still have a public education through an online option. And I think that's a great service that you could potentially provide as a district. So that's all I had to share. And if you have questions or something, we'd be happy to answer if you want to do it that way.
Questions?
Oh, do you have a question? Mr.
Do I have a limit to the number of questions I can ask?
Go for it.
So what are the admission requirements for students?
So it's open enrollment, which means that there are no specific admission requirements. They have to just reside in the region that makes them eligible to go to a particular school.
Okay.
And age requirements are same as district requirements.
All right. And what is the cost per student per course?
You're talking about students who are enrolled in the charter school?
Yes, if a student enrolls in the charter school, what is the cost for the student?
So there's no cost to the family. It's free because we're funded through the state. Yeah, we're funded through the state through ADA funding.
So then I misunderstood when you said that the district would get 20 free courses for every 100 students enrolled. If it's free, why, if there's no cost, why do you have to have free course enrollments?
So those students would not be enrolled in the charter school, they'd still be district students. And so there is basically like a private version. So like right now, a parent could go sign up for the private online school and pay tuition for that. So these are those same kind of courses that instead of paying, like again, if you guys have some online courses now, you're paying whatever that vendor is, like some X number of hundreds of dollars per course. So this is, Connections is a vendor to districts and all kinds of other partners. So they're basically, we're offering those courses that a district would otherwise pay for their own students as kind of part of the package and some of the oversight piece of it.
Kind of like giving, some free textbooks or something like that.
Yeah, now I understand. And then you showed the 3 counties that would be in the Southern Kern Charter, which didn't include Kern County. How do the students locally here fit into the program?
So all of the students in all of the colored counties that you saw are all eligible to enroll in the school.
Okay.
Because any student who lives in Kern County or any county adjacent to Kern County is eligible to enroll. The reason I showed those on the coast is because those counties currently cannot, and no students can enroll in an online school at all. Whereas the other counties are all adjacent to other counties that do have an online school. So, but it would be up to the families and the students to decide, which school they wanted to enroll in. But anybody in that county area is eligible to enroll in a school that's sponsored in Kern County.
Okay. And I think you described this last time, maybe not. So a student who's enrolled and they're taking the online courses, do they have access to instructors for guidance and help, or is it all just virtual?
Yeah, so there are full-time California certified teachers that are teachers at California Connections Academy. And the students have access to them, you know, not 24/7, but actually in many ways it does turn out to be that way. And they will do phone calls and web chats, and there are in-person meetups periodically that families, you know, will choose to engage in.
And when you say
Yes.
certified, do you mean they hold a California teaching certificate?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the teachers are California, and we pretty much follow the traditional, our elementary teachers have multiple subject, and our 6 through 12 have single subject, and they're assigned to the subject area that they are credentialed in. So we follow along those same guidelines that traditional district schools do.
And I guess my last question is kind of more for the district, the administration. Why then would our students at Abraham Lincoln not just enroll in California Connections Academy? Why would they continue to attend Abraham Lincoln?
They can meet face-to-face with the teacher on a weekly basis, as well as get, you know, extra help through our alternative ed, where here you're meeting, it's all online. You're meeting through webcams, you're meeting at alternative locations, Starbucks, I'm throwing ideas out, Starbucks like that. And in each of the California petitions, California Academy petitions or charter petitions, there's an interest list. And currently there's nobody from Rosamond in any of the addresses on the interest list. It's mostly Ventura County and those areas over there. The interest from our part was more of the 20 seats. So for instance, if we have a student that wants to take French at the high school, we would be able to offer them French through their academy and at no cost to the district. So that was something that we looked at. But there is something to be said for Abraham Lincoln Independent Study, where you build a relationship with the same teacher over multiple subjects, not different teachers with different subjects, and you're seeing that teacher face to face, as well as the teacher offering tutoring, which we offer at ALIS, and being able to meet multiple times if needed. So it's a type of independent study, but it's not the same type of independent study.
Yeah, definitely. There's really the kinds of programs where, especially for high school students, where they're able to really come and check in all the time are very powerful for a lot of students. And you know, this is just a different kind of option. So, and it's definitely that, you know, the students who select something that's totally online. Sometimes it is because they're not physically somewhere where they have an option like that, where they're somewhere remote and they don't even have that option, and they can get this kind of a program because they have internet connection. So there's a whole spectrum of different kinds of approaches. So even though it kind of falls under that independent study, it's, you know, there's a big range of how that really works. So.
Which kind of makes me think of one more question. Some of our students at independent study end up there because they have difficulty existing within a regular classroom setting, behavioral problems or suspensions or expulsions. What portion of your, if any, of your student body are attending for those reasons?
We definitely have a share of that, and we do take expelled students. We actually have one of our district partners where they kind of call us up and say, hey, we have a kid who we just had to expel, and we really think your program would be good for them. Will you guys take them in the, you know, for the period of time before they can come back, that type of thing. So we definitely work with districts on that. I wouldn't say it was a huge percentage, but I would say that there is definitely kids who have the kind of issues you describe, and then when they're in this setting, they don't have an opportunity to be disruptive in class that much. I mean, they can find ways to be disruptive, like in a chat or whatever, but they get shut down pretty quick. We have discipline policies and procedures. We rarely have to suspend a kid for disciplinary issues. Probably our biggest thing is like honor code type stuff, where we're holding them to a standard, make sure they're not, you know, cheating, or, you know, that kind of thing, and we're making sure that they're actually doing their work. They can't just be sitting at home playing video games all day. So those are really more the issues we deal with, more than, you know, say like, now if a kid was, say, expelled for bringing a weapon or something, we're going to tell them, well, you can't come to the field trip, you know, where you're going to get together with other people, but you can be at home and still get your schoolwork done. So.
And are there any accommodations for students who currently have 504s or IEPs?
Yep, we have right about over California-wide. So we have about 5% 504 students, and we're up to about 11-12% special education students, EL students, and we also have a lot of gifted students too, kind of on the, just kind of talking about special populations. So, yeah.
All right, appreciate it, thanks.
Yeah.
How do you facilitate the whole special ed component of it?
So we have a whole special education staff. We have a department, the director and administration, and then we have, I think we're up to about 30 special education teachers who are on staff. So they provide a lot of the, what you'd call kind of like specialized academic instruction type stuff. And then for other kinds of services, a lot of our services are actually online. So probably the best example is speech and language. Connections, the company actually was a pioneer in figuring out how to do speech and language through online using webcams. And it's been actually a blessing for a lot of families where they don't live in an area where they can find a speech and language pathologist and they're able to do it remotely. So a lot of our stuff we've been actually pioneering the last couple of years doing more counseling services through online and phone rather than in person. There is still some in-person that happens, and so we contract with providers that live in the community, and again, as you pointed out, sometimes that might mean meeting at the library or even potentially going to someone's home, but we seek out partnerships with providers that are in the area where the students are if they need that.
Mr. Lee, Suki's our list this obviously, but do you have any concerns or any thoughts or any, from your realm?
Well, so we've been working in close collaboration with Superintendent Weinstein, and we've reviewed the charter petition and to ensure that they comply with all legal requirements. We have identified some areas of concern that we would like to discuss with the petitioners, and you're in contact with their legal counsel to do so. But there are little things like insurance and indemnity. We want to make sure that the district's protected because it's a big charter school network, and they have different charter schools throughout Southern California, and we want to make sure that all the charter schools insurance policies cover all the areas that might cause potential liability to the district. So that's one thing we're working on. We want to make sure that their suspension and expulsion procedures are up to par, and that's all. Those are all items that we are currently in discussion with their legal counsel over. But our job is to make sure that that the district is protected in all situations.
I kind of have a question. Okay, so we have those 20 seats. So you use French as French as a foreign language. So a student decides they want to have French. You say, what if that class is full?
So,
what are the requirements?
it's a great question. Fortunately, in the online environment, there are no full classes. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, isn't there a limit? Well, yeah, there's a limit to how many students a teacher can administer. But generally what you have is we have national French experts who teach these courses, and if their cohort of students that they're working with gets too big, well, just another French teacher then gets students into their class. And so we're usually never in that kind of a problem, always able to accommodate additional students.
That's one of my major concerns with it, because
right.
We are offering you these 20 seats,
yeah.
but it has to be this one, not this one.
Yeah.
Where the student really wants this one, not this
right.
one.
It's pretty wide open to what you would choose to offer them. I mean, you may not, the district may look and say, well, we don't want to offer every possible thing that's there. But from our end, I've never heard of them not being able to take the course if it's in the course offerings that year, and that's kind of what you have the guide and things like that, then you could choose to do that. So.
And it's 20 courses per 100 students enrolled. So if
it
you've got
go up.
500 students enrolled in that charter,
right.
you would have 100 courses available.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be my next question. If you've got 40 courses available and 50 students want to take those courses, how are you gonna decide who gets them?
We would have to come with this, it's normally first come, first served, because that way it doesn't discriminate in any way against any student. We may have academic requirements. That'd be something the high school and the middle school would pretty much determine. We're looking more for secondary school. So that's something that they would normally, we have academic requirements to take online, because I feel that online courses may be a little bit more difficult than regular courses, and so we would want to make sure that the student's successful. So probably an academic bar, and then first come, first serve after that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that makes a successful program is to get an understanding of the kinds of students that are going to benefit the most from it. You know, so there's so many different reasons, just the same reasons kids enroll in our school, why they're looking for that. But you'll have more ability to set those up for your own students. You were asking about admissions earlier. Like from our point of view as a charter school, if they go, you know, they go through the admissions process, it's everyone can enroll who chooses it. We try to really inform people up front about how much work it is, how accountable, you know, there's a lot of things, people have different ideas about what it means. And so we try to do a lot of information up front so that they understand it. But other than that, we don't have any kind of requirements, but you guys could set it up however you want to, so.
Sweet.
Also, to further address Trustee Otis's question, so at this point, we are in the process of finishing our comprehensive review of the charter petition. And so from now, in between the meeting where the board is going to decide to grant or deny the charter petition, we will be working closely with Superintendent Weinstein and district staff to prepare our recommendations regarding the charter petition. So all of our concerns will be outlined in that charter petition for the board to consider ahead of the meeting. So all that will touch on some of the topics that I mentioned earlier on.
That was my next question, if there was anything that was gonna preclude us from moving forward with this if we decide to approve it.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll address that in our recommendation, and usually if a district decides to grant a charter petition, we'll also enter into we'll draft a memorandum of understanding between the district and the charter school that will outline additional components that aren't typically addressed in the 15 required charter school elements. And so that will outline any additional concerns that we may have. And so, so from now, in between the next board meeting, we will present the board with all necessary information, recommendations, and if necessary, draft that memorandum of understanding.
A question for Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Recently, there was a few schools down south of us who got in trouble for doing an online charter. We want to make sure we don't get in that same boat.
Correct. And we are looking at the charter petition from the lens of the Attorney General's complaint that was filed against that online charter school, and we're making sure that all of those issues that were addressed in that complaint are also met in this particular charter petition.
What's it cost of private tuition?
Like for, if this parent was to sign up for.
Right, they don't want to enroll, but they want to supplement their child's education with the curriculum.
I'm a little hesitant to give you like a current price, but I believe it's around $400 a course. So like if someone was, say, doing summer school, like they wanted to take a course in summer school, I think that's about what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and again,
Right.
that's not my department to set the private schools' fees, so, but I think that's around what it is.
So what happens when you have a student enrolls with your online, and then they're moving forward, and then they stop, doing the work or what have you? How far along do they do that before you expel them or whatever you have to do to not succeed or whatever?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and it's one of the cool innovations that you can actually use in a digital or online environment, because you can monitor in real time a student's actual engagement with the material. So in a traditional classroom, you got 30 kids sitting there, and 3 of them are not paying attention, and 3 of them may not be learning. But it's hard to discern that until they've done some work and turned it in, and you realize this student hasn't picked up what I was putting down. One of the cool things in the online environment is you can watch from a digital, data dashboard in real time the student's performance on, quizzes and interactions with the curriculum as they're working through it. And you can see how far they've progressed with the material and what their scores are. And you can actually see if they've logged in that particular day, for how long that they logged in. And there's a series of automatic flags, if you will, inside the system that will identify students that are not engaging, that are not logging in, that are not making adequate progress. And then there's a series of interventions that the school has set in policy where the teachers will call, notify the student, notify the parent, based on that, the level of their engagement and their performance. So it's really kind of neat that you can, correct any problems pretty early on. And if a student becomes a chronic problem and they're not engaging, then they're disenrolled and they're asked to transfer elsewhere because they're not doing the work and they're not actually taking advantage of that education opportunity.
So when you disenroll them, do you contact the district then?
Yeah, so all of that in California is, as you heard, we fall under independent study. So just like I'm sure you guys have an independent study policy, that's a board policy that sets the different parameters for that. Our board has that same thing. So there's independent study policy that's reiterated in the master agreement, the independent study agreement. And so essentially that's what the parents and students are signing to say they agree that they're going to be in contact with the teachers, they're going to be progressing, all the things that we were just describing. So then we follow along those procedures in terms of if they're not. Now, what I will tell you is probably the most common thing we get is they just literally stop contacting us altogether. Their phone numbers are all turned off, they're not receiving mail. We often don't know what happened with that because we give them lots of opportunities to get caught up, to get back on track. We have a full guidance department with credentialed counselors. We talked about our special ed, so we're really looking like, again, maybe that kid is in the hospital and we need to do a 504 plan, and that's the reason they're not contacting us. So really the ones that end up being disenrolled for non-compliance, it's usually because they've literally stopped communicating with us altogether and we cannot get a hold of them. If they do end up withdrawing during the year for any reason, there's a letter that goes to their last known, the district where their last known address was. So if it happened to be a student here, that letter would come to the superintendent's office, and that's true for any district where they live. So.
That's what I wanted to know, how you would contact the district.
Yeah, we send a letter to the district of the last address that we have on file.
Just because I don't want to lose any students if that was to happen, just true.
Right, and I think that's why that rule was put in place, because one thing about charters is that we cross boundaries that traditional schools don't, and so it's a way for there to be accountability, like, hey, this kid enrolled in the charter, but then you don't know what happened after that, so that letter kind of lets their resident district know, like, hey, they're not with us anymore, so you might, they live there, and now you guys are at least informed that that's the case, so, yeah. So that's something we do for everybody. Everyone who withdraws, even if they initiate the withdrawal, we still notify the district when they leave.
One last quick question, terrible question to ask, but so you've got full-time teachers and part-time teachers?
We don't have, we have maybe 2 or 3 part-time teachers.
But all full-time teachers in many states?
Well, the California schools are all California.
Are they affiliated or members of the California Teachers Association?
Our teachers in California are not in a union.
Okay. Thank you.
They have the ability to do that if they chose to do it, but they're not. That's not currently the situation for us.
All right. Thank you.
You looking to move on?
No, I'm just always curious.
One more question.
I'm done. Better go.
No, I was.
Motion?
Mario did.
Reader did the motion.
Reader?
And then I accepted it.
Are you ready? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
At what time did we put that?
We're
So,
going at, that's what it looks like, 8:13.
Approved memorandum of understanding between California School Employees Association and its Rosamond Chapter 587, CSEA, and Southern Kern Unified School District regarding the frontline, a time and attendance and the absence management tracking system. Mr. Weinstein.
Yes, so as the board knows, we instituted this year Frontline, which is an absence and time and attendance tracking system for CSEA or classified employees. When instituting this, it's common for a memorandum of understanding because it's the operations of how employees clock in, and which they really have not done. There's no time cards before, but now it acts also as a time card and absentee system. So we developed a memorandum of understanding with CSEA where they accepted the Frontline as a time and attendance and absent management tracking system. So we asked the board to approve the memorandum of understanding.
I will make a motion that we approve it.
Second by Otis. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 2018 CSEA Delegate Assembly Election Subregion, 12-B, vacancies. Mr. Weinstein.
So each year, CSBA has regions in which their representatives are elected. 12B is our region. It currently has 2 vacancies. There are 2 nominees for those 2 vacancies. We can also have a provision for a write-in candidate named. 2 provisional or 2 nominees, Ms. Jacobson from Standard School District and Ms. Schmidt from Lakeside Union Elementary School District are the 2 nominees, and they ask our board to vote for at least 2, or which we only have 2, and or write in a candidate. So we have brought the ballot to the board for discussion and to vote for the 2 candidates or not, or write in a candidate. The board would like, these are the CSBA representatives that go and meet, and they represent the board, or the boards of this region.
Does anyone know about either one of these candidates?
There, within the board packet, there was a bio for each one, and you could read.
Okay. We only have 2 candidates.
Yeah, you only have 2 candidates, and there's two vacancies, so yeah, so it's not, there's not a whole bunch of candidates to look.
I guess, being that we are short of candidates, I will make a motion that we accept.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second by Kurt. All in favor?
Aye.
Business and operations. Proposed school attendance boundaries for elementary schools beginning 2018-19 school year. Public hearing.
Make a motion that we recess.
Recess. Harris. Kurt.
At
At
8:16.
8:16. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr.
So as the board knows, we brought last board meeting, the transportation department made a recommendation to the board to change the existing boundaries for each elementary school to allow more efficient busing of students. And the change of boundaries is in the board packet, but it was also posted on our website for comment from the public, as well as sent to be posted at each site. The board requested that we hold a public hearing at the following board meeting so that the public interested in making a comment about the school attendance boundaries would be able to make a comment to the board.
Does the public have any questions?
Hold on.
It's a little small, but basically it's the 14 freeway now. Everything east of the 14
We go to Roseville,
everything west would go to West Park. Before there were some odd cutouts and And transportation stated this would be easier for the learners.
Where's your?
My daycare provider's in the other side.
And at the bottom, you'll see how many students would be affected.
You're at Rosamond Elementary?
Yeah. There was only,
And you're in one of these little sections where your kids,
The net change was,
oh, you're in one of these small sections where the kids
it
go
was
to.
below 10 students was the net change.
yeah.
And those students affected can stay at their school, but parents would have to provide transportation.
Yes, it would be a net of 6 students.
Sorry, what was the reason for this? Just the transportation?
Transportation, so currently, transportation is, have a long waiting list for transportation. So transportation was looking for a way to double up on some of their runs. And in order to do that would make their routes more efficient, so they worked on making more efficient routes, and they believe that changing the boundaries would allow buses to stay in one area for the elementary schools and make multiple trips in order to pick up more students on both sides of the freeway. Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Reader, you're saying that if a student is in a school right now currently, they're going to be swapped over to Rosamond Elementary next year, they can still stay at West Park, for example, provide the parents.
Right, if the student is currently going to West Park and now he's rezoned for Rosamond, the parent can choose to stay there, but they would have to provide the transportation.
Originally, one of the reasons that there was kind of weird zones that were taken out and moved was because of the social and economic changes. The state doesn't like to have all the kids that are better to do than the kids who aren't as well to do. So we have to mix them up, and you have to have a certain percentage. And we could not achieve that with this property or this type of line before. So we had to kind of move kids around. But at this point, Mr. Weinstein did the analysis.
It's less than a 0.5% change.
Yeah, so we can actually go to this and save ourselves a lot of headache for transportation.
I'm just inquiring because I have a grandchild who attends West Park Elementary.
Right.
But she lives over in the zone where if this be implemented, she'd have to go to Rosamond. So, elementary, so I just want to make sure I understand that option that I can tell her mother, my daughter, that, you know, if my daughter wants to keep, you know, my grandchild over at West Park, that they have an option to do that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Provide their own transportation,
Right.
is that correct?
Correct.
Without an inter-district transfer? Would she have to, if she's already there, would she have to send it?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
We would automatically create an inter-district transfer and send it to the parent with a letter explaining that if they would like to stay at West Park or stay at Rosamond, depending what it is, that all they have to do is sign the inter-district transfer, and then we would submit it into the system.
Well, is the district going to automatically send that to, like, my daughter?
Yeah, so the parent would automatically,
Okay.
the 43 students at West Park that would be transferred over to Rosamond Elementary School. Those 43 parents would be contacted with a letter, as well as the inter-district transfer, as well as called if we don't get a response back, and bring them in, explain the situation, to have them fill out the inter-district transfer if they would like to stay at that current school.
When would that notice be sent out if this is?
Once it's approved by the board within 30 days, we would start it right away. These 80 or 92 students that would be affected here, so we did not count 5th graders that are going into TMS, because next year obviously they wouldn't be there. We did include pre-K and TK students that we currently have in our system that will be going to kindergarten. We did include them. So every student that we currently have in our area system where we have addresses that are affected are here, and so we would be able to get a hold of them right away. So the goal would be by April 1st that contact has been made with the parents, and they are contemplating the decision of what they would like to do.
Would the agreement last the remainder of their elementary year? So my son, for instance, is first grade. Would it go for second, third, and fourth, or is
Correct,
it just?
yeah, so our intra-district transfers do not need to be renewed every single year.
But just so there's no surprises, what if the class sizes at the grade levels are impacted?
well, then at that particular time, we would go to board policy, and then we would contact those parents according to inter-district transfers first, intra-district transfers second, and then we would go through, first you ask for volunteers to move from school to school, then you go through the board policy.
You used up all your questions.
Has the class sizes been determined if we're gonna get into
Yeah, this will not affect class sizes. However, as you can see, it's pretty even back and forth, but even in grade levels, it does not significantly affect any class sizes. However, as Ms. Hargis can say, our enrollment is brisk, and so we cannot, there's no way to determine today what our enrollment would be like in every single grade level going, by August of 2018. For instance, this year, we never thought we'd have 14 kindergarten classes.
And that's actually who I was thinking of, was kindergarten. Seems
Yeah,
to be
we
there
never thought we'd have
multiplied.
7 at each side, there's 14 kindergarten classes. And, so it's hard to determine, but right now, as of enrollment and including the pre-K and TK, as well as figuring that we will have the same amount of kindergarten classes for next year, no class sizes will be significantly impacted. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I got a question to clarify. Earlier, if I understood correctly, you said this was being requested by the Transportation Department for more efficient busing for the student schools. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, if I understood you correctly, you just said that this is in regards to the state by implementing.
No,
well,
this one
that's
is
what I'm trying to
No,
get
not this one, prior.
Prior,
Oh.
years prior.
at. Okay.
So
That's what I want to
years
clarify.
prior,
That's
the
fine.
state
I know, that's
made
why I
that
want to
change.
clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little pockets were actually created when West Park opened. Because we originally, we thought, hey, just everybody in that area right there is gonna go to West Park. And then we saw what the social economic changes were, and the state said, you can't do that. You gotta have X amount and X amount. And then at that time, we actually had 3 schools, so that we had to split it up with the 3 schools. And
That's why I just want to make sure that's correct. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Mr. Gutierrez, that's not the case anymore? We don't have that
No.
demographic?
Our demographics are now more even, so they can be split a lot easier without affecting, would you say like 1%?
It's less than 0.5%.
Yeah. Where before it was progressive. Okay.
I motion we convene into regular session.
I move we adjourn.
Second by
Overvotes?
all in favor?
Aye.
At what time?
8:26.
Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.